Are you struggling with early extension, as it's called, or you do not have an idea really of how the hips should be working? Well, I'm going to show you a quick drill here that I use very effectively with my clients, which helps them out immensely. And doing this drill is going to make you become far more consistent and strike the ball a lot better. So come on, let's go do it. Okay, so let's first of all just explain what I'm talking about here, just in case you don't know what this means. So what we tend to see a lot of golfers do, I have been guilty of this as well, and I'm still working on it myself, is where we see golfers, their hips start a distance away from the ball. And we're talking more the center of our pelvis, okay? And this center of our pelvis, what we've got to see, we've got to try and keep this in a consistent place, okay? We don't really want it, it can move in different directions. It can go forwards, backwards, sideways, and so on. We want to try and keep it fairly central. But one of the biggest faults we see a lot of amateur golfers do is they have a tendency to move this up into the ball, okay? Either it's on the forward swing or even in the back swing, we see golfers doing this, okay? So they move closer to the ball. This moving closer gives us what's known as early extension. And there's often times why people do this, you know, say they're going to come down very, very steep, for example. They know they're going to do this and they're going to then miss the ball totally. So to try and get the club head back on the ball, they will then probably extend. And you can see when I do this, it shallows the shaft. It's a shallower of the shaft. And this is then going to shallow the club out here, but they'll still slice it out to the right-hand side, and they lose power, okay, when you do this. When you're moving up with the ball, you're going to lose power, okay? So what we've got to try and get a feeling of is the hips are moving away from the ball. We want to try and always get them moving away. So it's the same, we're trying to use momentum here. So if I push my hips away, okay, through as I come down to hit the ball, I'm going to allow the momentum to really accelerate through because I'm pushing away from that move, from the club head. And if I can do that, I'm going to generate a lot more club head speed. And I've done videos before, and I'll drop a link below to that video where I explain a bit more about how the hips work using a little piece of cardboard, right? But what I wanted to do with this video was to show you a drill on how you can actually start working on better hip action, which is going to make you strike the ball a lot better. So the good old-fashioned chair drill, okay? We've often heard golf pros use this, and they'll use it, but they'll use it probably in our mind incorrectly, okay? No fault of their own. But what we often see them tell you to do is to use a wall or something that's firm that's behind you that you're going to rest your backside on. Now the issue with that is that I've had, and I've done this for years, is it's not actually the effective way because we don't want the pelvis to get nearer, or the center of our pelvis to get nearer to the ball. Now if I just put both cheeks on the back of this chair, the issue I'm going to have with that is my right cheek can't go deep enough. And that's going to cause then my left hip to come out and forward. Okay, my middle of my pelvis is now, guess what, got closer to the ball. So I have to make some massive compensatory move to get back to that. But what we know with golfers is they don't push away from the ball. So their pelvis is now forward, and then what they're going to do is going to now fire off with the right hip and not get the club head back to the ball. It's the same as well as if I just roll along the chair, my pelvis is constantly getting closer to the ball. We know with tournament players that they push away, okay? Their hips go actually further away from the ball when they come to hit it than they do moving up into it, okay? Now, the correct way to use the chair, instead of it being at 90 degrees to the target line, we want to turn it for the backswing, okay, to get hip depth. We want to turn it about 45 degrees away, okay, from the target. And my right cheek, sorry, my left cheek is just touching the back of the chair here, so it's on the corner, but my right cheek here now is going to go backwards to meet the chair. So I actually feel like it's pushing back, and I feel like I'm really getting it deep, okay? It's going, you know, some pros, they'll draw a line across your backside here, and they'll say, right, yeah, we want to see your cheeks really go beyond that line, if that makes sense. So it feels like you're pushing beyond that. And that's a feeling you're going to generate when you're going to go back. It really feels deep when you do this, okay? So it's a great way to practice this. And I've been doing this one quite a lot recently. So I'm pushing back, and this really gets me to feel, and I really feel like I'm really pushing back as I do this. So just going to go back and through, okay? So I really feel like I'm really pushing that deep. I feel like I'm going beyond deep, if that makes sense, just to hit the ball. Oh, my T-peg got stuck in the thing. Anyway, it's fine. I'm sure I can do it without. So that's a great way to use this. So you want to utilize this chair to really get this right hip deep. If we don't get this right hip deep, first of all, we're never going to get the left hip deep enough. Now, you can then reverse this and turn it round to be the left hip, okay? So the left hip now, I've turned it 45 degrees. Oh, it's gone down the hole. Turned it at 45 degrees. So now my right cheek is hitting here, but guess what? I've got to now turn the hip. I can't do it there. I've got to now turn the hip so that now my left hip has got to go back. So I'm only going to swing probably to here, but I've got to feel how deep that left hip's got to go to get down to hit the ball. And I'm now touching it now. This would be more impact position, okay, for me. You can see how I get hips are open, as they would say, hands are leading, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pushing back. I feel like I'm really pushing back to hit the ball. Guess what? When I push back, this makes me lean forward more. So this is going to stop any early extension. So it's a great drill to do. So I'm just going to swing back, just a little bit back, and I'm just going to push back just to feel that hit. So I'm just going to go back and push back and through. This means that I'm not moving up to the ball, I'm moving away from the ball, and I can feel my left cheek now on the ball. So it just gives me that feeling of depth. I really feel like I'm pushing right back, okay, when I do this. So you just would put in the reps doing that basically. I would just stand here pretty much all day, just back, pushing that back and through. I can really feel that hip pushing back. And that's the correct way to feel or to use the chair, not having it at a 90 degree to the target line. Because once I've done that a few times, I've got the feel for it. I'm really feeling, so right hip back, left hip back. I feel like the left hip, because my right hip's gone back here, I move up to the left, but then my left hip goes back to meet it this way, as opposed to right hip coming forward to meet the left. Okay, so you really feel like you're pushing back from the ball to hit the ball. So you're just going back and pushing back and through. I can really feel like I crush the ball and I feel like I'm moving away. You'll feel the pressure in your feet go right heel in the backswing, left heel in the forward swing. And that's the correct way to utilize a chair. And if you do that just daily for a month, let's say, your ball striking will become a lot better and your distance will become a lot easier as well, because you're utilizing momentum. So as I push away from it, or my hips push away from the club head, my club head accelerates and speeds through. So you're going to get a lot more effortless power than you've had before. Anyway, I hope that helps you. Please give us a like and a thumbs up and a subscribe as well. That'd be great. And I'll catch you again next week.